World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She was magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, broadcast on the Soul City Network, of course, also heard from WHCR 90.3 FM in the voice of Harlem from City College. And I'm Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse, and I'm here to give you some checkup from the neck up, be able to get a little financial literacy, get a lot. You know what I'm about is financial literacy. And if you have any questions, even when we bring on our guests, we have an exciting guest on today. Just put it in the chat and we'll address it. I want to welcome you. Of course, we just recently experienced Juneteenth as a national holiday. And I don't know if it's a holiday, it's just an awareness of what this country has gone through and what we as people of color have gone through in this country. I'm hoping y'all know the story. It's basically, it took another 2 years before the people in Texas knew that they were free. So that definitely is not a celebration, but it is an awareness, and it's a time that we must be aware. And we've got a time when we need to get ourselves together financially. This is truly just an example of how important knowing how money works is, and especially to our community, which has been void in receiving the knowledge. So I have to say, and I know it's on my Facebook page and a few other places, this last Friday, I was honored enough to assist in presenting the How Money Works it says Stop Being a Sucker, but How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. Stop Being a Sucker, and this book is just in its preliminary stages. It's written by noted author Sharon Lecter. You may know her. She was the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. She also wrote the book Think and Grow Rich for Women. And some people will say, well, what's this thing with women? Well, there's a need for women, particularly, to understand how money works because, as it said, for the year 2030, there will be over 30 trillion with a T funds, money passing through and in the hands of women. And if they don't know how money works, you can definitely lose it. So it's necessary to be on this mission to help women understand how money works, in addition to everyone, because everyone needs to know how money works. So I had the honor, and if you get a chance, you can go on my page and hear my talk and speech. But also, if you want to understand how powerful it is for women to come into this financial service industry, you can go to wealthwavetv.com, and you will see the entire event. It's under green carpet. Instead of being a red carpet, it's a green carpet. But it was some very powerful women that spoke on the need for women to come into the financial service industry, and from different levels. When I came into the industry, there were not a lot of women trading, and it was on purpose. They were secretaries on the bond desk doing things, but they were not trading and not full service trading. So now's the time. And even though now we're still very small in the industry compared to what we should be by now. That being said, we also, if you want either the How Money Works book for women, it's going to be rolled out July the 24th, and I'll have some copies. But if you want, which is the beginner book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. As you can see, it says here over 500,000 distributed. Well, 500,000. It's now up to 750,000 books have been distributed since we rolled this out in 2012. Was it 2012? Yeah, I believe so. And so it's about getting this book out to everyone. It's a simplistic book, but it's necessary. And I'll tell you all that have ordered the book and have asked, you to get the book, you've got to go to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at Gmail. That's my email. That's ANAJ Enterprises Inc. Yeah, we had to put the ink in there, at gmail.com, and just send your name and your address where you'd like it to be mailed. No, it's free. It's just let us know that you would like the book, but also to know that once you get the book, please read the book. And if you got something out of it, let us know. But even more so, share the book. We have a tendency not to share information, and that's important in today's day and age, is to get information is one thing, to share it is another. And above all, once you share it, is to act on it. It's one of those times that action is important. Knowledge is power, but action is very important. I have another saying for that, but for this site, we definitely want. So if you have any questions tonight, just make sure that you put it in the chat, and we'll be glad to answer and address. But this is an important time, and so also, my words are: if you have a plan, then you're not planning to fail. But if you have no plan, you're probably planning to fail. And what's your plan? It's where you are today and where you'd like to be financially. We don't want to talk about our finances, but money is not the root of all evil. It is truly necessity of having a sound and stable lifestyle. And the only way that you're going to do it is to have a plan. You should know what your number is. That's how I think about it. What's your number? What's the number you need to have and save to get to where you want to get to? It's that simple. But sometimes you need a financial educator to help you. And that's what I do. And that's what I've trained individuals to become, financial educators. So, in doing so, all you have to do is call our office at 646 375 2121 and just say you would like to have a private, non obligated type of financial analysis. Yes, it's free 99, free. So those are the things that are necessary to get you up and running. And it's one thing, some people ask me, will you give this free? Yes, because if I give it to you and I tell you that you need to do it, because you don't have the excuse of, I don't have any money to pay for it. Yes, this is given to you. The only obligation that you have is to read the book, or if you're going to set an appointment for a financial strategy, to make sure that you attend, and we give you a guideline of what you need to bring for us. And it can be done, because we're all over the country. It can be done through Zoom, so you don't even have to physically be there. We're also this Saturday at 3 o'clock. We are going to have what we call our workshop in financial literacy, the essentials. So last 2 weeks ago, we did a piece on foundations, and we're going to keep doing these classes round robin. It's 5 classes, and so this is the second one coming up, and it will be done on Saturday through Zoom at 3 o'clock. And if you're really interested, all you have to do is send me a little email, and I will send you the link, and we'll be glad to have you. And again, those that attend, we always give them the book, get the book to them. But also, if you have any questions or general questions, is important. We can't do specifics, but we definitely can do general. So that being said, I got all of the information and stuff that we need to do to take care of the bills. Now let's get to what we need is the information. Information is key. Now, all of you out there in that wonderful audience, I have heard it time and time and time again. Is that you need to get your business in order, structure your business. You need to understand, how your taxes work. These are things important. But many of you go out and you go get the LLC, and then you don't file taxes on it and do the proper things. And then you come back and say, what do I do? This could be remedied. So I want y'all to get your notebooks out because there's going to be a lot of information tonight. And to impart upon us, there is a gentleman that I truly appreciate. He has helped me, my clients, in structuring themselves, helping the small business in our community. And so, with no further ado, I'd like to definitely introduce to some, and of course, welcome from others, is Mr. Max Beaulieu. Oh, I had it so good before. Beaulieu. Is it getting close? Come on,
Yes, Beaulieu, you're right there.
Beaulieu. Beaulieu, please forgive me.
No worries.
I call you so many times Max. Today I came out and I said, I got it. I got him. And I'm so happy that you had time to help us. He is truly a business attorney, and that's what we need in our community. We need someone, the go-to person, who can give us the guidance, because you can open up a business and you can fail in a business if you're not structured. And as you all have heard me say before, you need your team. Well, here's part of your team. You need a good attorney. You need a financial advisor. And then you also need a good accountant. That's your team. Because and they're the go-to. I know a lot of people tell me, they say, oh, I can't afford to then go and get your consultation and have your list and get as many questions as you can. But you got to pay these people. Why? Because they're going to be the ones to protect you. So Max, I know you've been through a lot these years since we met before, but you believe it or not, you've been on a few times because we've done repeats on you because people are truly needing your service. So can you tell us a little bit about all that what you do? Because you've expanded your business since the last time we talked.
Right. And Yana, thanks for having me again. And congratulations on your recent success and the awards you've been getting.
Thank you.
So, and so your profile is continuously raising, and people are seeing it. People are seeing it.
I'm
So,
glad.
yeah.
We got a mission, Max. We got to help our community. We got to create another Black Wall Street so that people will
Right.
have flourishing and let the
That's the
money
goal.
stay in the community at least for 3 to 5 years, not like 30 seconds. So tell us about your business.
I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Right. I'm. My name is Max Beaulieu. I'm the principal and managing attorney of the Beaulieu Law Firm. I'm a corporate attorney, and my practice focuses in the industry of hospitality, entertainment, and small business. So when we talk about my expansion, it's been in the hospitality industry. I represent restaurants, bars, and hotels. Um, so I generally help set up their infrastructure, the legal infrastructure. Generally, in the restaurant business, it's best to serve as an LLC, to set up as an LLC because it's more of a flexible entity as opposed to a corporation. And it's especially if you're trying to get investments, you want to steer clear of an S corp format, and you don't want to do a C corp because you don't want to get taxed twice. But I think we'll go into those details a little bit later. I'm still in the entertainment realm. I represent some people in the reality TV sector or section and or realm in music and film and television and typical small businesses. I've helped people in the beauty industry. I've helped people in the real estate industry and in terms of commercial real estate and the like. So whatever you need assistance with, I'm a transactional corporate attorney. I'm here to get your paperwork correct. I'm here to set you up correctly. And just as Yana alluded to earlier, an attorney, accountant, financial advisor, you need that on your team. Our services is an investment. My job, now a lot of times what happens is I'll get clients who are in trouble. They're like, oh, something happened. Oh, I didn't set this up correctly. Oh, I'm being sued. I got a problem with the IRS and something is going on. And, I look at their structure and I'm like, well, there's a lot of things you didn't have in order. Or I'm suing somebody or so I'm getting sued, but I want, where there's a dispute as to who owns what. And I say, hey, so where's the operating agreement? Where's the shareholders agreement? They're like, we don't have one. And I'm like, okay, well, do you have any emails confirming what the split is between you guys? Like, no, everything's through text, and I lost my phone. I don't have the text. So you run into these issues. The reason why you want picture like a prenup, right? Business is a marriage, so you want some kind of prenuptials in the corporate setting, which is an agreement to let all those involved understand what everyone's rights are, who's responsible for what.
Mhm.
And in the event there is a breakup or a business divorce, everybody understands who takes what. What
Mm.
is my slice of the pie? So my job is to make sure that we avoid any problems in the end, things hit the fan. And if they do hit the fan, we can break out the contract and we have a clear understanding of what route to take. There still might be disputes, but we will be better prepared and more ahead of the game with everything set up front as opposed to running around with our heads cut off at the end.
I
So
see.
that's
So
that's my
you were saying because you've got a gamut here. You've got the restaurants, the bars, you've got the real estate. That's real. I got somebody for you, commercial real estate. Uh, you know how I run. I roll like
yeah.
this. I got people that need help. Um, But in it, you made a mention about the LLC for the restaurants as opposed to maybe doing an S corp.
Hmm.
And is it one of those that I thought that the S corp would have been better, but instead the C corp, the LLC will give them more advantageous situation in investors?
Correct. I'll uh, I'll explain. So for S corps, like I get it, particularly in New York. When you form a LLC, there is the draconian rule about the publication requirement, to which you have to pay you have to pay two newspapers, one weekly and one daily newspaper, to publish that you are in fact a set up LLC, and they have to publish it for 6 straight weeks, and then you file a certificate of publication with the state of New York. It's the most stupidest and criminal thing in the world. It's no one checks the newspaper. Oh, let me check the news day here. Who opened their business up today? Oh, interesting. No one does that. And
No.
I think New York and another state. I think there's only two states that do this in the country, and New York is one of them. It's dumb. But if you are in New York, we recommend that you do go out the LLC. Now the S corp it's cheaper. They don't have the publication requirements, and like S corps and LLC is also tax advantageous in terms of being passed through entities. However, S corps could only be owned by natural persons generally. There are some exceptions about a trust owning it and the like, but if if you want to expand your business, it is very difficult to do that as an S corp. With an LLC and C corps, it is very much flexible, because here's the thing: with C corps and LLCs, other entities can own a piece of your company or your business. So
Okay.
now, why is that important? A lot of investors, when they come in, they generally don't want to come in as individuals. Like, hey, I have a company that I invest with, so I'm going to use that company to infuse cash into your business, and you give me a piece of your business to which I own. S corps
Understood.
don't allow for that. LLCs do. So LLC is the best way to go if you're looking to expand and get an influx of cash to do whatever you set your sights out to do.
Understood. So if you get, because my understanding with the LLC is that that's the cover, but you still have to tell IRS how you're getting taxed.
Yes, you still do, and you would know this. Generally, the basic route is that you'll get taxed as a partnership, but you could get taxed as an S corp, you could get taxed as a C corp. There's a tax election that you would have to fill out.
But if
Um,
you're only one member, aren't you a little bit in trouble?
well, you'll be taxed. Well, then you have to select to be taxed as a sole proprietor. So, um,
And you know
that
what
I
that
mean,
means? That means self-employment.
self-employment. Yeah, there are some self-employment taxes, but then
Don't
what
like
you
that.
should, yeah, but yeah, it's generally not ideal because you're a sole proprietor, but that's why you have Yana to help figure things out for you. It's like,
That's where
my
I
lawyer said this, and sometimes that's why lawyers and accountants, sometimes we butt heads. They'll be like, "Well, this
yes,
is the best legal way." They'll be like, "But this will hurt them tax wise."
I'm so
So
concerned with folks when they, I look at it, but now I understand because with the LLC, you can be an entity investing in the business, which I understand that's important because
mhm,
most people, if they have the right guidance, they don't want to be themselves. If you're
mhm,
yourself, that means you're also exposed to whatever happens legally,
yes,
and the wonderful attorney comes and pierces everything and takes you down.
that's right.
But okay, so I got a clearer understanding, and I know New York is a problem state when it comes to these LLCs and this publishing thing.
Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, there's a way to get it done in a cost-effective manner. I work with certain agencies that help with that. So if you're ever looking to set up an LLC in the state of New York, give me a holler, and we'll try to make it as cheap as possible for you.
Okay, that's a good news. That's really good. I have people who have come and they have the LLC. They want to convert to something else because they're a sole member LLC.
Mhm.
I have, you know what I do? I send them to you, to see
Right,
figure out what they're gonna do. But
right.
the thing is that when you're by yourself, and a lot of people are by themselves, uh, is there the possibility with the LLCs to, instead of being a sole member, can they just like take I don't want to say a child, but an adult child and have them as a partner? Then that would change the way that they would be taxed. Can they do that?
I'm not sure. I couldn't answer that question in terms of how they would be. I mean, well, in terms of the specifics, in terms of the numbers and tax like that, but they would. You can be now taxed as a partnership as opposed to a sole proprietor. The LLC is just merely a shell, and then how you operate. As a sole member, you're a sole proprietor. As a person of two doing business, two or more doing business together, you're a partnership. So you'll be taxed as a partnership if you bring in another individual.
Got it. That helps. I think that might be, but again, you have to sit with your team and figure out before, just don't do things haphazard. I met someone who had 10 LLCs and it was like,
Mhm.
and had not filed any taxes. Yeah, not good. So, just don't go out before you get your entity and you want to do business, then you really need to sit with someone like Max and talk before you start to set up all these entities.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got the another thing you said, now when you said the entertainment field, do you also do like intellectual property, like, what do I want to say, trademarking, anything like that?
Yes, I do assist businesses and individuals with the trademark and copyright of their brand. I don't do patent. Patent requires a specific bar, and
Oh,
it's generally that's for like inventions and functioning of certain tools and all that stuff, and very science based things. Generally, I'm in the realm of branding for my intellectual property. So if you have a book,
okay.
um, if you have a book, the words inside the book would have to be copyrighted. The title of that book would have to be trademarked. There are
Oh,
it is a difference, and we will do a search, make sure it's available. And here's the thing too, and this is why you need a lawyer. If you have a name for your brand, and that's the biggest thing, a brand is important. It gives your company life. We always get excited when we get a graphic artist do the logo of our company. We feel a bit official. We feel alive. But imagine if you spent all this money on your brand and you put it on all your product and
mm-hmm.
you invest into it, and then you get a letter from somebody else sending you a cease and desist saying, we actually have this trademark registered years ago,
Mm.
and you have to take this down. You've lost now. And then we look and we see like, wow, they've had it and they're actually in the same kind of market you're in, and they're actually selling a similar product to you. So now you've spent money on all your brand product, all this brand, you've lost your money, and you built up goodwill with an audience that identify with this brand, and now you have to change it up into something new, and you have to remarket yourself. A lot of time and money wasted, and you're starting from square one, maybe even worse because you just have no money now. So if you're thinking about starting a business, just talk to an attorney. We're gonna look and see if there's anything else out there. So in the event that there is, we're gonna say, hey, you're gonna have to change the name, and it's just better. You save a lot of money. I understand. Um, Listen, when you're in business, you want to put up a business, you're doing some big things. So sometimes some big bucks have to be spent. Now I do my best to make things cost effective for you because
Mm-hmm.
trying to start up, especially in a community where access to capital is a big issue. But if you're serious, take the time to invest in the things that won't get you into trouble and won't cost you money at the end. Get your lawyer, get your accountant, get your financial advisor. So at least a consultation would give you a better understanding how to go forward.
I think that's so important. People, they jump the gun. And again, we want to get started our mom and pop organization. But if you don't, like you said, it could be very costly. And especially if you've developed your brand over a while, but here's someone else who owns it and has developed it a long time before you and has
Mm-hmm.
had it. You're out. You
All
got
right.
to, and all of that work for what? So, it's worth, and yeah, there's cost, but the thing is when you look into starting your business, you don't want to, especially if you're sitting with an account. We're going to say you need to capitalize that business. You can't be put out of business for $10,000. You know, you got to
Yeah.
have some money. And there's money out there for you. To start businesses. There's so much. Getting certified as a minority women's business organization that helps.
Helps.
Uh,
Get you government contracts that way. Absolutely.
that's right. There's the contracts, how, but you got to be ready. I had a client of mine years ago, bless her soul, but she got the publicity, she had the contracts, and then she turned around and then she had to produce and didn't have enough money to produce. Now, see, that's where I beg, borrow, short of stealing, get it going. You got the contract, but we've got to get also the business mindset. And a lot of people, and I'd love to hear from you about the restaurant side. Are there a lot of people now opening up restaurants? I mean, it's a very tough, in my opinion, a tough field. And there's a lot of regulations here in New
Yes.
York. I know. Did I lose him? Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So I would say there's just as many restaurants opening as there are closing. When you see a restaurant close down, just in a few months, there'll be another restaurant that fills in that space. Um, and the reason for that is, which kind of goes into the reason for that, why people may move into the space that was closed is
Mhm.
because if you're looking to open up a new restaurant, it's best to find a place that has been already, how would you say, approved by the state of New York to open up a restaurant in that space to begin with. Because there is the 500-foot rule, 300-foot rule. Did that place pass to have a liquor license in there to begin with? Um, you know, can can they have a sidewalk cafe on the side? Sidewalk eating. A lot of those things that property may have been approved, and the reason why they may have closed their business is because they may have been bad business people, or their concept no longer worked. But you coming in with a new concept, and then and it becomes a good match for you. Um, so there's a lot of it. I would say there's a lot of restaurants closing. There's a lot of restaurants, not a lot. There's some restaurants closing, some restaurants opening. You just really have to have a really good concept. Location is key, and if you have uh, uh, an understanding that there is an audience for your food,
Mm.
um, then then you go ahead. It's very much like an entertainment. If there's an audience out there for you, then go ahead, open up a spot and set up shop.
I got it. Yeah, it is interesting. I didn't think about it from the standpoint that when one restaurant closes, there's another one ready to open and can utilize that same space because they met certain criteria.
Right.
That's
Hmm.
a wealth of information.
Yeah.
Instead of you going and finding a new location, look at where something has been so that you know that they've met some of those rules, especially
Right.
when it comes down to that liquor license.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. The liquor licensing is key. It's where you make your money. I went to a restaurant last year, and I went in because I used to go before, and they had their liquor. It was great, but then we came in. And they're like, oh, okay, that's great. Well, this is bring your own alcohol because we don't have alcohol here. And it's, it was so disappointing. We left. We was just like, no, listen, I mean, we want to eat and all, but great, we're hungry. But sometimes we just want to chill for another hour or two and start drinking. Like this,
Yeah,
we
get a
have a
little,
good time.
and but
We
now you
spend
get
money on alcohol.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's interesting.
so we got to just
And branding, because you said something I didn't think about. So the if you write a book, the stuff inside the book is the copyright,
yes,
but the name and title is the trademark.
correct.
Wow. Okay, I got some
Mhm.
work to do before this book comes out.
Right. Yeah.
I come see you. It's okay.
No,
I
no,
just
no,
got
about it.
ideas right now. I'm trying to tell this story about Wall Street, the truth.
Okay. No way. I'll make sure I got you for sure.
Yeah, because this is interesting. So again, okay, so we went through the LLC world, the S corp, which I didn't know, it also restricts you in a sense because you can't. Is it that you can't have an individual, or you can have an individual, but you can't have an entity?
Right. They're only supposed to be owned by natural persons. So I myself personally could own LLC. You and I could go into business together. Excuse me. I could personally own a S corp. You and I could go in business together, open up an S corp. But if I, Max LLC, and you, Yana LLC, wanted to invest in Patricia's S corp company that sells, crazy technology
Yes.
that'll save the world, we wouldn't be able to invest in it and own it because our entities are not allowed.
Oh,
We could invest in it, so we could invest in it. But for me, I'm like for tax purposes and the like, I don't really want to be, you know, do it personally. I want to do it through an entity. Um, and people just get turned off by it. So when you have an LLC, especially for small businesses and in restaurants in particular, you it's entities and individuals can come in and own it and own a piece of it. And it's they can invest in it and they own a piece of it as their entity. It's more appetizing, no pun intended, for those to sink their teeth into. I'm on a roll today. As S corps are just not the way to go. Generally, if you're an S corp, it's really if you're particularly going to just be you have no plans to expand much. You're just here just to provide a service, and you're just here to provide a service really, and you're not really going to be partnering or investing or anything like that. You're just going to be in a small specific lane, very small business and doing nothing else. More like consulting. Yeah, if you're going to do consulting, okay, yeah, I would do an escort. Yeah, no problem. But if you're planning on expanding, getting a lot of people involved and getting money and partnering with a whole bunch of people, LLC. And then maybe if you get really, really big, where you kind of want to do an IPO or something like that, have this
oh,
have everything called public, then you convert to a C corp, and then big time venture capitalists would be very, very interested because C corp has a very is very, very, very structured and not as flexible as LLC, which certain VCs like because they know that there's some stability that comes with the C corp. But like I said, bringing it back, you're a small business, but you also have ideas of wanting to expand some. The LLC just hits it right.
got it. I'm hearing it. It's a different thought compared to what I thought before. I just don't want people to be that disinterested party. That's
Mhm.
so. I'm telling you, self-employment tax can almost destroy you when it comes because
Yes,
you think you've got okay. So I made $20,000, and here comes that self-employment tax, and I'm
yeah,
dead. And I've got to pay it, and I can't underpay. I've got to pay it,
yeah, yeah.
and then still, I'm a bit protected because if I'm understanding with the LLC, if someone wants to sue you, because that's what we have all these entities for, is to protect us against someone coming and getting our personal property. But
Correct.
with the LLC, if someone wants to sue you, is there, as it says, a limited liability company, is there a limitation to how much they can come get you for?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, well, it depends how you. Your question is very interesting. Well, let me start by this way. If you, even though you're acting through your LLC, decide to punch somebody in the face for some reason in your business, you're still personally liable. If you do something personally, even though you are doing it through your LLC, like you can still be personally liable. And the reason why we have LLCs is because if you have an employee that does something bad, then you can't be personally liable because you own the business. It's your LLC. How much can they sue you for? That really depends on state laws. Like if you're injured and you do something reckless,
Hmm.
then whatever case law sets as precedence in terms of what kind of damages is owed to that person, they will file precedence and get sued for that. So I would say the limit is based upon what the precedent is. Uh,
Mm.
so there's I'd say Michael Jordan sued a supermarket company for trademark infringement and sued them for about $10 million, and the supermarket had to close down. Uh,
Wow.
so uh, it,
So
uh,
it can get kind
it,
of
could be. I don't want to say that it's unlimited, but let's put it this way: it can be a lot, right? It can
got
be
it.
a lot.
I got it.
Right.
And then the next level is when you want to see yourself expand. So you can change the entity to something like a C Corp that
Right.
would allow you to really, expand.
Mhm.
Question. I don't know if it's possible. Is it possible for a C Corp to own an LLC?
Yes, they can. They can. I'd say I don't want to give specific examples because I don't know for sure. But I would say that the like Dunkin' Donuts, they had corporations, they're a C corp, and but they have a couple of LLCs under them where their intellectual property that they have is housed in an LLC. A lot of smart businesses where they're smart. Once you get big and complex, a lot of times what they do is they take all their intellectual property and have it owned by an LLC to which they own. So in the event that there's some kind of suit,
Hmm.
because they kept a lot of their assets separated, it gives them a great deal of protection.
That sounds good. Okay, it says when setting up a business, who should you consult first? The lawyer, the financial advisory, or the tax consultant? They need to be in the room themselves, in my opinion. But go ahead to answer that. Matt.
Well, I have a preference, so I'm biased. I would say, you speak to a lawyer. A lot of this stuff is paperwork, and you want to make sure you have your paperwork in order. Um, which paperwork does include a lot of tax stuff as well. But a lawyer a lawyer is in the realm of business. Corporate lawyers in the realm of business. We
Yes.
deal with people with other businesses, and there might be a business similar to you that we've dealt with where we're like, hey, you need to set things up this way, and these are the things you need to take in consideration. I was like, oh, you want to bring in partners, or you want to set up yourself where you want to bring in investors. Well, for example, if you want to bring in investors, we're like, okay, well, they can invest and own 30% of your company. You own 70%. And we'll say, if you're a restaurant, we're going to make those investors passive investors because we don't want them to have much say in terms of how you run your restaurant. We don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. Another pun, because you know they don't know how a restaurant's supposed to be ran. So why should investors have voting rights in that particular company?
Right.
So except when it comes like certain big things like the selling of the company, okay, maybe they want some voting rights. But in terms of the day to day, who to hire, how to run, what to order, what's the budget, you don't really want them to have any kind of say in that because they don't know. And once they start to have say in voting, it could stall the progress of your restaurant and business. And that really goes for a lot of other types of business because you want to make sure how we can teach you how to legally function in your business in terms of day to day and long term. Now, when it comes into tax, lawyers, unless they're a tax lawyer, the corporate lawyers can give some, but it's really on the surface level. Because when it comes to the nitty gritty, you're gonna need an accountant. And usually, when you have your accountant and a lawyer and your lawyer, work together, we can come
Yes.
to a resolution that will kind of, you know, you know, be beneficial for you, the client, because we see things as we're trying to protect your legal liability. We're just like we're talking about in the event you get sued, you're set up to protect yourself in such and such way. But that might conflict tax wise, which well, if you do it this way, this may hurt you, so we kind of have to do it this way. So we try to bring in both parties to kind of strike down the middle as best way we can.
I've seen that where more so now as opposed to early in my career when I battled with lawyers all the time because I was like, no, can't put an LLC. I need these people to be protected. They're one member, blah, 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 blah. But now I'm coming to the table with attorneys. And then plus, of course, people get 2 for 1 with me because I'm also an investment advisor and financial advisor. So you get a
Mhm.
2 for 1 deal,
There you
not
go.
necessarily on the cost, but you you know, but it gives you that opportunity to sit and really understand. And I'm hoping y'all learning something and taking these notes because this is powerful in your structure. I do believe, even I would just succumb to the fact that the lawyer needs to be done first because we need to find out how you're structured. Once you're structured, and of course, I have certain preferences, but once you do, I got to deal with your taxes. I got to deal with your personal, also with with your business. And especially in the case of like an S Corp, you got to get an income. You got to take some money out. You got to
Mhm.
pay yourself. And a lot of people don't do it. They really don't. And so, okay, Stacy, when should a retainer be considered in establishing a business, or is it a case by case situation?
When should a retainer be considered? Um, what do you mean, like when should you pay a lawyer? Like, well, see, I define it. My how I work is when I get retained. There's a retainer amount, which could be for maybe most cases a couple $100, maybe 15 to 25 to 3,000, depending on the situation, and then I charge hourly against that retainer.
There
So
you go.
against that retainer, I might charge $200, $300 an hour. For our community, I try to make it more affordable because again, we have issues of access to capital. But so I would work against that retainer, and for me, my philosophy is that's your money. I just work off it from the hours that I earned, and in the event you want your money back, I could give it back to you. Or if we finish your business and there's still money left, it can still stay in the client account for and we can use it in the event you have future business. But so to answer the that person's question, um, a retainer should always be considered when hiring a professional help. It's better that way. For trademarks, however, we intellectual property. I do for intellectual property work. I do a flat fee.
Oh,
Just pay me up front. Yeah, so it's a flat fee because it's nothing that's it's not really it's while it's difficult, it's not difficult work, but it's not really something that's complex. Pretty routine. It's boom, 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 boom. I already have the expertise as to where it needs to go, how it's supposed to be done. But generally, for my intellectual property work, it's pretty much a flat fee. When it comes to negotiations and trademarks and all that stuff, I'm dealing with individuals, and that could be quite a bit of work and going back and
yeah,
forth.
because if you don't get a retainer, people call and say, hey, Max, I just got one question. Oh, wait a minute, I got another question.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And you're just like, well, listen, man, like now I'm doing a lot of work for you now, and I'm not, yeah, yeah. I'm not getting money.
Where's the cash? Okay, let's say, should you put your LLC under a trust? And is there a specific type of lawyer needed to do this?
Your business under a trust. I mean, I would say you would have to get a trust and estates attorney. They would know better. To put your business under a trust. Well, I'll tell you what. I couldn't really answer the specific question, but I understand why trust is important. You know, when you having something in a trust is important because it tends to reduce the possibility of probate. Yeah, you can have a will, and you should have a will. It's great, but
Mm.
having a will doesn't avoid probate. But having a trust in which, when it's set up a certain way, it will automatically go to the beneficiaries because there's a contract and a structure in place in which that entity owns that business, or the trust owns a piece of that business. So it is possible. I've seen a lot of trust invest in LLCs. I've seen a lot of trust own a big piece of an LLC. I don't yet. So I would say a trust can own LLCs. I don't know about how you phrase it about putting an LLC in a trust, but I know a trust can own LLCs. If they own it,
Okay.
then interest in that company can be transferred to the trust in the event of your passing and the like. So that is something you should consider, especially if you have long-term, lofty estate goals and generational wealth goals. You're thinking about your future generation. That's something you should definitely consider because probate could be a problem.
Oh yeah, it can clean you out. We had that example. I keep still following. They haven't solidified it, but Aretha Franklin started off with an $80 million estate. It's done dwindled. It's, the last time I looked, it was somewhere around 40 million. And see, because she,
It's a big haircut, but
yeah, what happened is she died, during that COVID period. So the courts were tied, but the attorneys were still billing her.
yeah, exactly.
So
So maybe I come from somewhere. So yeah, that's the thing. I've had somebody else who I was working with her on the entertainment side, but she was telling me some of a lot of probate issues she was working with. And yes, again, like attorneys, and sometimes there's some bad attorneys out there. They will eat up your estate. And they say like, oh, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's so many problems with this. Really nothing. But if you have it in a trust, and I would don't quote me on this, but I would check with a trust and estates attorney. But it transfers more quickly into a trust in the event of your passing. So that's something that you should definitely take a look into, especially
no,
if you
that's
want to be passing
that's
it on to your children or somebody else.
hmm and that's important. Even inside the trust has to have some way of earning, have money, income, because it
Mhm.
has to pay for itself. So
Correct.
yeah, it could be, but you just like you said, getting an estate attorney, someone who understands trust. Because every estate attorney I found out does not know trust. Uh,
Yeah, they're different. They're as long as they've been alive, there's not a great understanding of them just yet, but they are very powerful tools for generational wealth for sure.
And that's what we really should be looking at, is the generational wealth. You want to be able to not have a child that starts off with zero again. It doesn't make sense. We need, we grow, and on Access Wealth Nation, we talk about it all the time, how to utilize life insurance, and building the trust, and having, we have a little saying called the $1 million baby, where you're putting the money away for their retirement, really.
Mhm.
And they don't get to touch it until they get to their senior years. But they, even in the book, there's a whole chapter about that, of how you leave money. And then, but you got to put it in the trust because you have to give guidance. You don't want your child to spend it all when you put this all together. You got to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Specific rules as to how that trust will be ran and how the funds will be distributed. So I think I even heard sometimes where like the son or the children they have to graduate college before they do this, or they have to do this before they do that, or they have to work at a certain company before they receive it. There's conditions as to when you receive the money to
That's
keep
right.
everybody accountable. So
I
uh,
think it's excellent because I know
yeah.
I had a client. I had a situation where the father had the life insurance. He died. He had over $1 million, and the son went through it in 5 years.
Mhm.
Gone.
Mhm.
Where I had the other situation where I have a client that they did inherit money, but they've inherited it through the trust. So what happens is that he got money at age 18. He got money at age 20. He waiting for his 30-year amount. Yeah, step away, you get a little bit. So you do, you appreciate it more. But it's something
Absolutely.
that we do need to do is generational wealth without a doubt. So we know that we put up Max's all of his information because if you have a question, you number one, you call, you get a consultation. You
Right.
pay for the consultation. I don't have problems saying these things. You pay for the consultation. Then once you get it, if you need to go further, great. But if not, you're good. But you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
That's why they have a TurboTax, and then you have your accountants, and you get what you pay for.
You sure do. You sure do.
So, in saying that, if anybody else has any more questions, but Max, do you have any last words for our audience? Because they're out there. I'm seeing them all over in the internet world now.
Yes, I would say education is key. Be intellectually curious. You find out if you're interested in entering a business, and I would say this for as well in dealing with restaurateurs and people who have a brand and want to push. Like you have a sometimes a lot of people go into business, they have a creative mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and they think about the kind of impact they would have on the world, or impact they would have in their community, or if you're in entertainment, the kind of glamour you will experience with your ideas. But understand that you are a business. You are a business, and if you don't act right, other business who are organized will take advantage of you. All
Mm.
right, and you'll lose. Okay, get your structure set up. Talk to people who are experts. Have mentors. Have a lawyer. Have an account. Have advisors. Educate yourself. Pick up, call them. It's like, hey, I have a question. How can I do this? How can I do that? Is this possible? Is this possible? And sometimes a 2 minute conversation, most of us would be generous. We'll have a 2 minute conversation with you, and they may not charge you, but that'll help along the way. And what happened is it'll be beneficial to a person like me, because then you would use that information, got yourself further along, and they're like, you know what, Max, now I have a really big deal in front of me. Can I use you to help me set myself up straight? And I'll be like, yeah, no problem. Let's do it.
That's good.
Call, research, educate yourself. Just please protect it. You are a business, act as such. Don't
Mm.
forget that.
I love that. That's perfect. Well, you are business. Oh, Max, are you in New York?
Yes, I'm in New York. I'm licensed to practice in New York and New Jersey. So give me a holler.
There you go. There we got it. Well, Max, as always, I appreciate you so much. I got more clients to send you. And I
All
would
right.
say
Good.
I thank the audience. Thank you for watching. And definitely, play this over again because this was important information. You have to be the student of your business to know the ins and outs. And so, definitely. And again, this is Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse giving you that checkup from the neck up. And you have a peaceful night. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're
Are
in
we
the,
still? Are we still in the show?
I
I
think
said.
so. I see it says in the show.
Are we still live?
Okay, what's happening? Yes, we are live. Okay. Jazz is in the stream. Okay, so